What's going on, everybody? It's Liam here, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in today's video, I have a Storm PvP guide for y'all. Now, I really thought I made one of these on the channel before, and I actually looked it up on my own channel, and I didn't have one. So, in today's video, we'll be talking about every little intricate part of the game. Now, if you guys are confused about anything generally in this video, I do have other videos explaining things. Like, I'll talk about Rochambeau, so check out my Rochambeau guide video. A pet, how to build a good pet, you can check out that guide as well. Or like the general PvP things in my ultimate PvP guide as well. Go ahead and check those videos out if you need a bit more detail. If y'all find this video useful at all, please consider leaving a like and or a sub. I do post as much as I can every day, if not every other day. And my goal for this series and the guides like this is to simply just help as much people as I can. So if you guys could do that, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Now, in case you guys are a new viewer on the channel, I was the first Storm to actually get Warlord at max level. The Storm school at max is kind of widely known as like the skill school. It's by far the hardest to play, and there's the least amount of Storms like at high ranks, and that's the lowest win rate basically all of 5th age. Currently, we are the highest ranked Storm in the game at max level right now. This season I peaked at about 1930 until I started streaming, and then obviously when you start streaming on this game, you are bound to lose rank. But yeah, let's talk about the spell elements and what you're gonna want. So let's start from the back. King Artorias, top path King Art is pretty good. Bottom path is good, but generally I would say you don't want to give up that top path of the King Art for the damage. It's really good and important. Next up for Owl, you're going to want top path Owl. This is just simply a numbers game, right? Out of 30 games, bottom path Owl has only helped me once or twice, and top path Owl I'm using every game, if not every other game. Bottom path Owl, a lot of people thought that card was really OP, but again, it just kind of boils down to the player perception of something might be really good, but when you actually get in there, play the game, play the meta, you know, the game is completely different. Next up, we have Sirens. This card is just horrible. It's essentially what Vampire is, but on a Storm, but you're using 5 more pips when you are a damage per pip school, and it's just really bad. Don't use this card at all. Horrible card. Next up, we have Leviathan. Now you have the option of top and bottom path. Top path is the legacy hit and remove 2 blades, which is actually really good and what I recommend in this meta because it's basically damage mitigation in a way. And it's not that far off a top path King Artorias. You're giving up like 100 damage maybe. But the tempo gain of removing a blade or 2 is really good. So I'd recommend having top path. Now, if you are interested in bottom path, you know, this is probably going to start looking like some hieroglyphics to you if you are a new player. Basically, this card hits and then it's going to clear up to 3 overtimes on yourself for 3 minus 35% weaknesses, universal, on the opponent. Next up, we have Stormlord. I mean, this card is just horrible like Sirens. Top path, it's just worse than the treasure card, right? Max tier top path Stormlord is 755. TC is 795, so you just pack the TC at that point. The bottom path is really bad as well. It does less damage than side deck Lord, and the conditional is really bad. Next up, we have Bunny Up. Bunny Up bottom path is actually really good as a heal counter. It's just simply like what I found to be like the hardcore Jade counter right now. So this card will hit pretty hard for 5 pips, mind you. It will clear 2 heals and then put up to a minus 50% aura on them that last 4 rounds. Now, it's not clear if this is supposed to like replace an aura or it'll have like 2 auras on the opponent. We don't really know, but the point is you can hit pretty hard, clear a lot of heals, and then stop them from healing. Revolutionary Strike, probably one of the worst spells in the entire game. Just don't use this card. Catch of the Day, obviously you have to get bottom path. It's a really good card. Probably Storm's best card, I'd argue right now. Teacup, I would not recommend packing this because it's just a bad card. Now with Triton, we're picking between King Artorias, Bunny Up, or Triton as our heal counters. Now, personally, what I do in my deck is I only run Bunny Up as my heal counter. Then I run Damage Path Triton and Damage Path King Artorias, and it works pretty good for me. However, if you don't have Bunny Up or you don't like it, Triton bottom path is not bad. Stormzilla is really good for the bottom path. You clear 2 dots for 2 45% blades, which is really good. Kraken is horrible. Do not use this card, the top or bottom path. Storm Shark is decent as well. Bottom path, pretty good. The issue is you can't heal on a storm because you're dead all the time. So, you know, that is what it is. You could probably make this work at, you know, recruit or if you're starting out. But the second you start to win like 5 games, it's not going to work anymore. It's just a bad mechanic. It's badly designed. Catalan is really good to get. Stormwing is not a good card. Barry is a good card to get as well. Thermic Golem, top or bottom path is pretty good. I'd recommend bottom path though. Hammer Thor is horrible, don't use it. Sound is horrible, don't use it. Bats is horrible, don't use it. Snake is horrible, don't use it. Now for treasure cards on a storm, you're basically going to want to have a lot of utility and stuff like that. The only 2 spells you can pack in your sideboard that is good, at least at max level, is your 4 pip hits like Clanker. I don't have any on me right now, unfortunately, but Clanker is really good, and Stormlord TC as well is a really good card. You could pack your counters like your Stormzilla and Triton inside if you want, but like generally big damage hits, Storm is actually the one school that doesn't have any inside because they all got banned, which doesn't make any sense because Storm's supposed to be the damage per pip school, but other schools get better damage per pip cards in their side along with better stats, so it just doesn't make sense at all, but it is what it is. Now you're probably asking yourself, okay Liam, what about the gear? What gear do you run? Now I showed this off in my ultimate video, I think, but this is the gear set I run right here. You guys can just take a picture of it if you want. We have the Wastelander hat for the dual school accuracy and pins like that, and it's just pretty good in general. Gives a lot of stats. We don't need the outgoing shield slot or resist slot simply because Storm gets no resist to 5 out of 7 schools no matter what, so there's no point in having a pin for resist. And outgoing doesn't work because healing on a storm doesn't work because you are dead at all times. Stalker armor is really good. Hunhao isn't bad either. The only issue with Hunhao robe is the health loss is way too much. And there's a certain threshold you have to hit on Storm right now in the meta, which is basically 10k. If you go below 10k, Fire and Myth can one-shot you way too easily. But if you're at 10k, you basically will survive a Fire Myth one-shot with like 1 HP and you can win the game. So that's why Hunhao isn't really good right now in the meta. It just doesn't give any health. Xibalba as well. This is just really good with the meta set and the stats you get from it. Both of these are from the Crying Sky raid, which is basically like a 12-person dungeon locked behind a guild, which is by far the most difficult form of content KI has ever put out. Xibalba wand as well. So if you notice, we have shads on every piece, and that's because 4-piece shad is the meta. Simply because it's just the new standard with Dark Surge being a thing. So it's like a pacing thing. If you don't keep up with the 4-piece shad, you're going to fall over and die. I have the Reaver knife as well. Just really good on stats. Hunhao amulet as well. Just be sure you guys are copying my, you know, what's it called? My jewels I have in the video here. Now for the pet, this is kind of where it gets a little subjective. You could run the beetle pet. Personally, I like the elf pet a lot. My 2 favorite pets right now in the meta are these 2 pets right here. Either a storm bubble pet or the elf pet. Both are equally as good. I would say generally I had more success with the bubble pet actually. We have the Clockwork Courser as well, which is pay to win, I believe, and the Xibalba deck. If you do not have the Xibalba deck, you can just run the Reaver deck. It's also really freaking good as well. They're pretty much equals to each other. Now, I want to talk about my dual school, which I have is Myth. Now, this is just simply Rochambeau knowledge and game sense knowledge, right? On a storm, I am good against hots and dots, which makes me weak against what? Blades, traps, weaknesses, and shields. So, if I go into Myth, I'm actually technically countering my counter matchups, which are Ice and Death, because Myth counters both of those. So I have a lot easier of a time against my quote-unquote counter matchups by dual schooling into Myth. But yeah, essentially you're countering hots, dots, and then you're countering weaknesses and shields, which are good against Storm. So that basically only leaves you bad against blades and traps. However, my strat in a way, which is like PvE Storm in a sense, where you just single blade, single trap aura, and nuke your opponent, right? Is really good because I can just simply use those single buffs, which generally there aren't good counters to those unless like you're a lay for an ice maybe. You just out buff the opponent with your damage per pip and your storm stats like that, and you always gain pips with your trap, blade, and aura when they have to use pips to actually counter them. And when they're actually spending pips to counter them, they can't actually keep up with your lethality. And even if things go south, you could always send like a galvanic catch of the day, do a bit of chip damage, and now you have 245 blades to combo with and keep the pressure going and then gain pips again. So essentially, I don't have to worry about traps or blades because I simply just out buff my opponent and kill them before they kill me. And then I'm covering every other base with my dual school and my cards and my deck. But yeah, if you guys ever want to watch some Storm PvP or any PvP in general, I do stream on Twitch pretty much every day around 6 p.m. Central Time. I think the only thing I did not get around to doing is simply talking about like tempo and stuff like that. But I really think I'll need to make a whole nother video talking about tempo. And why like I hit through certain debuffs here, but I don't do it there because a lot of people get that confused. And I see y'all in the comment section asking why we do certain moves, and I'll be making a video breaking all that down in the future. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and a sub. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching, and take care, y'all.